Did you know 63% of youth suicides are from single mother households? 90% of homelessness and runaway children are from single mother homes. 85% of children that show behavioural problems are from single mother homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems are from single mother homes. 71% of high school dropouts are from single mother homes. 70% of youths in operated institutions are from single mother homes. 80% of all youth that are in prison are from single mother homes. You hear it all the time. I had to be the man of the house. Is this because the mother is incapable of attracting a good man to the household? To which, of course, she refuses to accept accountability for her choices by saying men are shit? How much do fathers matter? We look at the science behind the question. Pause this video right now. Go and read Do Fathers Matter by
Paul Rayburn. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
So, if we could speak about it for a couple seconds, spoilers. And I wanted to say this book is fantastic. Not as much information as I would have liked, but this is the book before the book. This is the book that paves the way for other scientists to look at the impact of fathers. This book helps to raise awareness that not enough research on fathers has been done. They said that there's over 95,000 studies on mothering, but only 15,000 papers on fathers. That's less than 1/6. We don't know nearly as much about the importance of fathers as we should. My question is, would it be wrong to give this book a 5-star rating simply because if everybody read this book on the planet, the world would change overnight? Because I truly think that it would. So many problems are happening in the family because there's no fathers about. If we realise the importance, overnight, we could fix it. But right now, we don't know.
I think it's primarily, I agree with you, but I think primarily we should give this book to women first. We need to make sure they're the first ones to read it. Because women control the keys to sex. They control the keys to reproduction.
Yeah.
They made better choices.
We by the law.
Exactly.
Well.
They made better choices about who they let inside them. We would not be...
I think it should be the law that once you've opened your legs...
Before.
Once you're pregnant, you need to know what you're doing when you say goodbye to the father. You need to know what you're doing because they don't know. They think, oh well, I can bring this child up by myself.
Yeah, parents don't read about parents. They don't read about parents.
They wing it.
Yeah,
crazy.
Exactly.
Imagine the most important job that you've ever had in your life,
and ever will have,
and you say, I'll wing it. I'll be
literally ever will have. But you know what it is? I've realised a lot of people don't think parenting is the most important job. I'll give you an example. There was a situation where it said, if you're a man and your house is burning and your wife and daughter are inside, who do you drag out first? And loads of women were like, obviously your wife, that's your life partner. You pick her before every. I was like, you're an idiot. I thought child came to my mind.
I know
first.
what I would go for, but I know what the right answer is.
Yeah. You know what the right answer is.
I know what the right answer is, and I know
they think the right answer is wife always. No, it was wife, mother, and daughter. And it was like, they was like, obviously your wife comes before everybody. It was like, you can have another child, you can't have another wife. I was like, this is scary. This is quite scary.
Yeah, mother's going down. A lot of people ain't picking their mother.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Finito.
Let me go first. Let's get into it. This is the spoilers. Did you know that new fathers that hold their baby or hold a doll wrapped in a blanket that smells like their baby experience a temporary drop in testosterone and prolactin cortisol? Holding your baby physically and chemically changes your body as a man. Fathers who are involved in pregnancy reduce the risk of death of the child within the first year. Also, children born with absent fathers are much more likely to be born underweight, premature, or with anemia, high blood pressure, or other complications. Lastly, the death rate of children with absent fathers is nearly 4 times of that of the children with involved fathers. Why is this? We don't know. This is the thing. So we got the researcher. This is part of the problem of the book. The researcher would look at this stuff, look at all the information, and they would find robust links. And because there's no data or there's no scientists that are looking into the reasons why this is, we don't know. And this is what the book highlights. And I don't know if he does it purposely.
Yeah, I think
because a lot of things he says, we think, we believe, but we just don't know. But the link's there.
It's crazy because the information is genuinely out there and nobody knows or cares about any of this. Genuinely, it's not even a case of nobody knows, it's that you don't care to know. No one's ever looked it up. No one cares. Do you know what I mean? Because fathers are just fathers.
Yeah.
And mothers do everything.
Fathers are part-timers.
Do you know what I mean? It's a part-time job, so
Yeah.
no one really cares. I think that's the first step, which is probably why you said this book paves the way for the next book.
Exactly, but I think when you find out that your child is nearly 4 times
Yeah,
more
come on.
likely to die,
Makes
that
you
might
irresponsible if you don't
that's-
care after hearing that.
It's a sobering fact.
Yeah, literally. What is the role of the father? Evolution-wise, why do we have 2 parents? I feel like everything always comes back to evolution, by the way,
yeah.
which is crazy how much I didn't know
Anything about
that-
it, yeah,
anything
yeah.
about that. So it's like, which
We need to do another book on that.
we need to do another book on evolution, exactly what I was about to say. But the one thing I could say I've learned from doing this podcast is how many questions can be answered about why we do things that we do, or why we are the way we are, just by saying what was evolution's purpose for that.
And also, a lot of things we think are conscious decisions, and
Which
it's just
are really not.
A scientist could tell you that he'd find out your age, find out your sex, find out where you live, and he could tell you, do a calculation of what you're going to do. He'll give you a choice,
Yeah,
and he'll
100%.
give you, and he'll be like, you're going to do this, and
And
you're
you
going to
think
do
it's
it,
magic, and you think it's magic.
and you think yeah, exactly.
Do you know what's also funny? Since like hearing some of these things, reading some of the books we've read, you know what words I don't say anymore? I'm hungry. I'm tired. I just don't say them anymore because I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. But typically, we see the role of the mother as the carer and the nurturer, and we know even more about the details of this since we read Eve, how the female body drove 200 million years of human evolution, which you should check out right now. Pause this video, go check it out.
We
by
did the
Kat
review.
Bohannon.
Yeah,
we
we
did
did
the
the
review,
review,
which you should definitely check out. By contrast, the father is characterized by providing resources for the family and protecting the family from danger, but also as the one who encourages exploration and encourages risk-taking, both of which are necessary for survival. Interestingly, however, studies have shown that when men marry and have children, often their testosterone levels reduce, which is what you literally was just saying. Obviously, as we know, lower testosterone levels are associated with less aggressive and more nurturing behaviour. So it is evolution's plan for fathers to be involved in the nurturing process and not just paying the bills, which is what society's kind of set us up to believe. I'll talk more about that later.
It's not just ejaculation and
It's
evacuation.
not just literally. It's just not just breed the seed and need for speed. You know? And here's the funny thing: we've already answered the question. Do fathers matter? Yes.
Exactly.
Switch the video off.
Exactly.
We've answered the question already.
yeah.
Point 1.
But if you want to, how to argue with the mother and win,
And win every time.
and win every time, because we're giving you the information that you can go and tell a woman, and they're gonna deny it, and they're
course.
gonna, but you can't. Okay, a logical person couldn't argue with it, but women aren't always.
They don't let logic get in the way of their feelings.
Oh yeah, of course. They did a study on nighttime behaviours of infants, and they found that infants had active fathers were more likely to sleep through the night or wake up less times. Is this because fathers are more likely to engage in rough and tumble play? In other words, arsing about and tiring out the child? Whereas women are more likely to play with a toy and the child, while men will be down rolling around on the floor. We don't actually know why there is a robust link between babies being more likely to sleep through the night if they have an active father in their life. We don't know. I don't know if it's about the playing, but the link's there. Which is
There's
another
something
thing.
there.
There's something there. So if you, young lady, want a good night's sleep, keep the father around. As simple as that. And it's better for the baby.
And it's better for you.
Babies need
Literally.
sleep. It's better for them to sleep through the night. So yeah.
Dads are the fun parent. I'm sure everybody is familiar with this concept. Despite Western society regarding the father as the authoritarian of the family unit, the axiom is that mum makes you do your homework and finish your vegetables, while dad takes you to sports games, gives you your first sip of beer when mum isn't looking. I believe these experiences to be near enough universal, and even for children who weren't raised in two-parent households, we can observe a similar phenomenon with the uncle and the aunt. Typically, the aunt is the boring one who looks after you and cooks dinner and all the boring stuff, and the uncle is the one who comes and goes fleetingly, who maybe has a cool car or a string of hot girlfriends, who buys you the latest football boots or spoils you with cash. The observation here is that the male parent, the secondary attachment figure, the importance seems to lie a lot more on quality of time spent rather than quantity of time spent. These concepts are established in our brains from early, between the ages of 2 months and 6 years. We learn to expect fun from dad because dads are more likely to roughhouse and play with their children when they pick them up. Mothers are more likely to cuddle, feed, or change nappies when they pick their children up. So it's like, you're sick, you want your mum, just because dad is for play. In the back of your mind, you just know. And these concepts are built up from 2 to 6 years, and they said,
children know this, so children have a preference of who they go to. So when their child only has one parent, they've completely missing that side of development, that side of learning.
or they find someone else for it. So a friend becomes the attachment figure, a friend that they maybe shouldn't be following, maybe shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and that kind of can go down an entire rabbit hole of drugs and all kinds of stuff.
And
so
that is one of the reasons why society is the way it is.
fatherless behaviour, that's what it is.
Yeah, that is a thing. That is actually a thing. Also, the study showed that on average, 2-year-olds prefer to be held by fathers because they would be more likely to be able to play. Mothers were associated with feeding and changing, but fathers were for playing. Well, they are according to the child. 2-year-olds on average sought out their fathers over their mothers. Now you think about all those children missing out on that experience and then say fathers don't matter. You think of the bond between child and mother as sacred, but when given the opportunity, children seem to prefer their fathers. So, you don't think about that, off the bat, basically. You just think child needs the mother, but child's smart enough to know who they prefer, and it's the daddies.
Our old nemesis, television. It cannot be denied that there have been long-standing attempts to diminish the importance of fatherhood. What if I told you that television has its part to play in this? Honestly, that really should not surprise you, and if it does surprise you, you probably haven't been paying attention. TV is behind mostly everything. Historians Elizabeth and Joseph Pleck have pointed to cartoons as far back as the 1920s that depict family men as bumbling imbeciles, incapable of controlling, disciplining, or feeding their children. So we're seeing examples from 100 years ago that society was being indoctrinated to believe that fathers were basically incompetent. Or domestically inept is the word that they used. And this concept was being reinforced through the shows that we watch on television. In today's TV shows, specifically sitcoms, we can observe precisely this through the characters like Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin from Family Guy, Stan Smith from American Dad, and so on. It's quite an offensive stereotype, I would say. And it does do real damage, especially when you take into account how important fathers actually are. So, we watch these TV shows when we were growing up. How much did we used to watch The Simpsons? 6 o'clock, like clockwork. Every day we'd watch The Simpsons. Homer Simpson's an idiot. Do you know what I mean? But guess what? He's got 2 cars. He's got a house that he owns. He's a safety officer at a nuclear power plant. His wife don't work. He's got 3 children. He's a top general.
2 pets.
Do you know what I mean? He's a top G.
Yeah, you kind of said my point near enough word for word. Word for word. I'm just going to say a bit of it. Father bashing. Huggies ran an advert which they stated they were the toughest nappies, and if they could stand the ineptitude of fathers, then they could stand anything.
Damn.
Fathers are even being erased even in sports, where stereotypes would suggest that they would be the more important parent. Even in the Olympics in 2012, looked at the lives of athletes that had become famous. The tagline, "Thank you, Mom." I watched the advert and there was no men in there,
Crazy.
Furthermore, there was an article about mum life and about being a new mother, and it said something quite rude about fathers. It said, like dogs, new dads are filled with enthusiasm but lack the fine motor skills needed to be of any use.
I'm dead.
So there's a societal norm of bashing fathers or painting them out to be useless, as you'd said.
Domestically inept, literally. What's also
I did a Google search. Go on.
What's also funny is that motherhood may come naturally to mothers in some ways, but it's not as if that they download the skills, like the dexterity to hold babies. These are things you develop, or these are things that maybe you've done before.
Well, let's just say women have been designed to be mothers for the last 200 million years. Minimum. Fathers have been designed to be fathers fairly recently. Because before, we don't know if humans were family creatures.
Exactly.
We don't know if fathers would ejaculate and evacuate. Yeah, exactly. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas women had to bring up their young. No, there's no two ways about it.
Doing it.
But I did a Google search on of the worst father of all time, and surprisingly, Darth Vader didn't make the list.
That's crazy.
But do you know who was number 1?
It's Peter Griffin, isn't it?
Tywin Lannister.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tywin Lannister. So they said.
I don't necessarily think he's the worst.
Well, they said he was so inept that he couldn't see that his two of his children were fucking.
Yeah,
and shared a child, and then his other child he would just bully them non-stop. Just a disabled being. But Tyrone, I don't know about that list.
I think that's harsh.
Yeah, number one.
As much as listen, look. First thing you have to say about Tyrone, he grew him up rich. That's a huge check in the.
Darth Vader wasn't even that bad.
Darth Vader wasn't there. He wasn't around. He wasn't around to be bad.
Maybe that's why he wasn't on the list.
Do you know what I mean? As soon as he heard Luke was his son, he tried to share the empire with him. Like I say, that's good in my books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's Peter Griffin. I'm gonna be real because Peter Griffin's a horrible, shockingly horrible dad who takes more care of his dog than he does any of his children. But
let me go again.
Yeah, go on.
This one's a bit of a mouthful. Pause. Did you know that a study found that fathers are more important than mothers when it comes to language development? When children used more words and conversations during play, they found that the same children had more advanced language skills a year later. They also found that men may be making crucial developments in the child which helps them to gain success later on in school. They found that fathers' vocabulary and the use of language while reading picture books to infants of only 6 months old significantly related to the child's use of expressiveness at 15 months old and the use of advanced language at age 3. Here's the interesting part. This was irrespective of the mother's level of education or how much she read to her infant. Mm-hmm. And this was a study with over 1,000 infants. So it's the father was key. Scientists believe that this is due to the fact that mothers spend more time with infants. Mothers learn to use the words that the children already understand, whereas fathers don't typically know the words that the children understand and end up using a wider vocabulary. So it's like the other week when I used the word interoceptive the other week, and you kind of figured out what it meant. So in other words, just call me daddy. No, wait, that's something else. That's wrong person. But yeah, I would have cut it there and I'll say that other bit off.
One thing I also forgot to say when you talk about the sports things, like you asked Venus and Serena Williams, who was their drive for becoming the greats of the game, they'll say their dad. But happy Father's Day, Mum. Oh. There are many gaps between men and women. By gaps, I mean the indicators of sociopolitics that we can use to kind of measure gender inequality. Some you'll hear more prominently, for example, the wage gap and the orgasm gap, which focus on women. Some you may not have heard at all, like the workplace fatality gap or the homelessness gap, which focuses on men. And I'll leave you guys to connect the dots on which ones, make the news, make the headlines and which ones don't, and why.
Fans gap.
You know what I mean? Like, ridiculous. But another one that we can observe is something that I like to call the gratitude gap. For example, why is Mother's Day always such an extravagant affair? The shops fill up with bouquets of flowers and restaurants start to get booked up. Whereas on Father's Day, the shops fill with mugs and beer glasses that say best dad ever.
Can't find them.
Do you know what I mean? And the funniest thing is, if you get your dad a glass that says best dad ever, that's you done for Father's Day.
You're set.
You've gone above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like literally,
thanks.
bro.
In the cupboard with 100
exactly with 100 other. I literally got out a beer glass that said best dad ever on it, and I got my parody, and you went, cheers, man.
I didn't get him nothing.
Cheers, man.
I didn't get him anything.
But Father's Day is not a holiday, that's why. But in fact, the National Retail Federation estimates that $35 billion was spent nationwide on Mother's Day of 2023, which are impressive numbers when compared with the $22 billion spent on Father's Day. What complicates the statistic is that we cannot say for certain that the money is even being spent on fathers. Do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of people spending their presents on
exactly.
On
and on Father's Day, some people are buying the things for themselves, or they're buying, but sons are buying it for their fathers.
Mothers are buying stuff for themselves.
Do you know what? It's crazy. Another trend.
Mothers of young kids are buying Father's Day presents for themselves.
So some of that 22 billion that's being spent on Father's Day, that's going to the mums. Yeah. So another trend, which I'm seeing more and more every year, is Father's Day becoming single Mother's Day, because if you do both jobs, you should get both days, which is horrendous indoctrination in my opinion, because you can't do both jobs. You can't, and we can prove it with the statistics. Yeah. It's insane that
they're rewarding themselves.
Got a day already.
They're rewarding themselves for disadvantaging their children.
Do you know what I mean? That's crazy. In fact, I know a guy that literally said we're notoriously bad gift givers, but he said he knows. He literally said on his birthday his girl bought herself lingerie, told him happy birthday. I said that's taking a piss.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's taking the absolute.
I've had that before.
It's ridiculous.
After I specifically said I didn't want anything.
Can you imagine?
I'm gonna buy myself with your credit card.
Yeah. No, my days. You know what we used to buy?
I didn't even like it. Couldn't even get it up.
You know what we used to buy my dad on Father's Day? We used to buy him a tie so he could go back to work and make us some more money, And he used to be like, cheers, mate. Put it on, go out to work and make us some more money.
I like it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's not a holiday, man. It's just something we do so we can just be like, well done for making it into work this year. 35 billion. annually on Mother's Day, you know, every single last penny of that is gone on Mother's.
what?
Every single
There ain't no
last
fathers
penny.
saying,
Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
the mother too.
Happy single Father's Day. They're like, nigga, you don't get a day.
Children whose fathers read with them and played with them, took them out on outings, and spent time with them had fewer behavioural issues in early childhood and less likelihood of delinquency and criminal behaviours as they grow up. Children who have present fathers are less likely to smoke, and fathers reading to 7-year-old girls and asking 16-year-old girls how was school helped to prevent depression and other psychological illnesses in the kids decades later. Enough is known about the positive effect on fathers and children's lives that governments should change policies to encourage fathers to spend time with their children. And they give, what do they call it? Paternity leave. They give paternity leave, but the point the guy was making in the book is that it's not enough. You know, mothers are seen to be parent number one, and there is no, apart from breastfeeding, there is really no reason for it. For mothers to be number one parent. After that best breastfeeding period, that's it. You know. So, you know, I don't know what can be done. I don't think there is anything that can be done, to be honest with you. But
it kind of is.
One thing that needs to be done is the more research.
Definitely,
someone needs to fund that.
Exactly, and I think.
But realistically, these are the type of things. So it's like when we read The Invisible Woman. She would give solutions and she would show how it would save money. So she said, "Oh, well, we need to invest in clearing the pavements of snow because of saving money in the NHS." It's the same sort of thing. Crime would go down, for one, and children would be more productive. They grow up to be more respectable, productive. There'd be less single mothers, you know. So there's definitely a monetary value that a country needs to invest in for the future by taking fathers more seriously, which 100%. Is quite interesting. So it's all there. It's just waiting for us to grab it.
Yes, no one cares enough. No one cares enough. Fathers ain't shit. No one cares. Stop complaining.
It's true though.
Go back to work. Go back to work.
Exactly.
And then people run the research and be like, but where's my dad? So like, do you know what I mean? Push gifts. This is a fairly new concept to me, but it may well have been around for ages. I have no idea how long this has been around for. You buy a gift for a woman who has recently given birth as an appreciation for pushing out a baby. Typically, it's a very insta-timeline sort of thing. So you'll see these super filthy rich guys from the Middle East buying a woman a weight in gold and stuff, or like 6 new Range Rovers, all kinds of crazy stuff. But you may occasionally see... you may occasionally see somebody like get a new handbag or something. Someone that's more like down to earth. You may occasionally see that, rather than like a Lamborghini Huracan or something insane. Anyway, I saw a tweet online where a woman said, "Push gifts are cool. I just think the father deserves a little something to say thank you for making this pregnancy so smooth for me." To my great surprise, this suggestion was met with rage. Not like
I don't know what's
rage, genuine rage. I was like,
can't women have things to themselves?
Do you know what I mean? The common theme amongst the replies was that men who support their wives through their pregnancies, who deal with mood swings and random cravings at 3 a.m, who lift and carry for them, and are understanding when they're over-emotional, all of this is not valuable enough to warrant a pair of socks or a PlayStation game, bottle of Henny, something, which is likely what the gift would be anyway. It's likely what the gift would be anyways, because men don't really expect very, very expensive gifts like that. When women talk about push gifts, they're like, I want a car, I want a flight to this place, you know, I want a Birkin, etc. But, there was even a woman on Reddit who said she was planning to get her husband a gift to celebrate becoming a father, and lots of the replies were literally like, the baby is the gift. Like, why are you getting him a gift for? But it's offensive. It's offensive to people that you should... And I'm just like,
and it's
why are you having a baby by this person that it's so offensive for you to get a gift for? I'm not saying you should do it.
It's unfortunate that women would listen to these lot online as well.
Yeah, no, come on, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But, you know, should give the baby the gift for both of us.
Social media is evil, TV's evil, and the women are evil.
The women are the most evil. Got us kicked out of the garden.
Literally. I don't know if I want to read this. I'll leave that one. Humans and rats share 90% of DNA. Science exposed male mice to chronic stress and then bred those with normal mice. The pups showed psychological and behavioural changes that resemble depression and anxiety. So we already know that females can pass along stress, but now we know that it's likely men can too. And this stuff hasn't been looked at in humans. The studies have not been done. So this is part of what I was saying, that the researchers would have to go to close animals that are genetically close to us, like mice, that share 90% of DNA. I didn't know that. But yeah, look at how they parent and what happens. But we could never do this with humans. We couldn't subject people to, chronic stress and anxiety and give them psychological problems and then throw them in a cage and say, breed with her.
Yeah, no, we couldn't. Especially on the last bit. I mean,
so the first bit's alright.
I mean, the first bit you can get away with, depending on who it is, because like when they have to run tests, they've got to run them on somebody. When they do human trials,
they could just get a psycho. You
get a psycho, you run up on homeless people off the street, do what you want. But it's like when it get to the point where you're like, yes, you two breed. Like now we don't know what we're doing here. Do you know what I'm saying? We could be unleashing all manner of pathogens.
And he was that.
We could be unleashing all manner of pathogens upon the planet. We have zero clue what we're doing here. So I think the Geneva Convention, that's when it steps in and it's like, you cannot breed, unregistered life forms in your basement.
I've got about 4 more. So
I've got 2 left.
Yeah, let me say this one. I've won.
Yeah.
In the 1950s, men were kept out of delivery rooms. With the introduction of fathers into the delivery room, women would report feeling less pain and needing less pain relief. Which is quite interesting. I would never have imagined that. I would much rather go back to 1950s though. I don't want to see that.
Would you rather go out hunting and bring the deer?
No, 1950s, mate. 1950s. What are you talking about? We were civilized. Maybe you need to go back to. But yeah, do you think you'd want to be in the delivery room?
Yeah,
you'd want to. I'd leave the professionals to do it. Call me when the baby's here. Clean clothes and dried.
Ring me up when the baby's here, and then the mom can get in the back seat.
I'd be like, I did my job already. Now it's time for you to do yours.
You know what you was in for.
You knew the risks.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, get the
Good
job.
luck.
Stop complaining.
Good luck.
100%. Literally, she can get in the back seat. I picked them up from the hospital.
Get a cab.
Literally, what's for dinner today? What's for dinner?
You better be good down there as well,
Oh God. This book feels like clickbait. Based on the title, I was expecting a lot more statistical analysis, a lot more information about the role that fathers play in the development of the human animal. As we go through the chapters, we're getting a lot more anecdotes about husbands and wives and couples and studies conducted on rats and mice than what you might expect from a book called Do Fathers Matter? Maybe I'm just an idiot and the information's going over my head. I don't even remember what stage in the book I wrote this, so there was a lot that came later on, but obviously I'd never delete points that I've made.
Well, look, every good title should be clickbaity. So let's get that out of the way.
That's true.
So you're marking him down for that, and which is fair, but you should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
But he
my first rodeo.
He didn't get off topic, but he did. I thought he was going to come.
He tidied stuff that was like 2 or 3 steps removed,
and it was a word count thing because he could have just done what he had. He could have just done what he had and left us with that information. He didn't have to talk about monkeys. He didn't have to talk about mice or rats. But yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Same old.
Never change. Yeah, I've got one more after this, so just let me know.
Alright, I'll just skip to my last 2 and I'll say one, then you say one.
Yeah.
There is a robust link between absent fathers and accelerated sexual development and an increase in sexual risk taken in daughters. Girls with absent fathers go into puberty and start menstruating earlier. And they've also found a link between sexual risk taking. Researchers don't know why this is, but their guess is when a dad is absent, it gives girls a clue about what the sexual marketplace is. She gets the clue that men are either not around as much or might not stick around. Biologically, the sooner she can be ready to have children, the better. She cannot consciously decide to start her puberty earlier, but subconsciously her biology takes over. She enters puberty earlier and gets pregnant quickly and has more children. This would follow what is called in biology a faster reproductive strategy. Whilst the girl brought up in a family that has a father would biologically adopt a slow reproductive strategy. This is just speculation. But what is robust is the link between absent fathers and accelerated sexual development and an increase in sexual risk taken in daughters. Also, girls who didn't have a father around were more likely to engage in meaningless sex or one-night stands, whereas girls who had father figures in 2-parent families were much more likely to value sex and family.
Fatherless behaviour. It's fatherless.
So, it's interesting. These things, it has an unconscious effect on you. Whether you like the research reason, whether you agree with the reason,
whether you can handle the truth or
the link's there. The link is 100%. There. So it's interesting that fathers have and this is what the researcher said. He said, we know this about daughters. We have no idea what happens like biologically with sons. We have no idea because this research isn't out there. We haven't done it or whatnot. So it's fascinating.
You said this
book was rubbish.
I didn't know. I realised that was clickbait as well.
Yeah, and you fell for it again.
I already clicked. Do you know what I mean? Don't take a second to click.
Just like pop-ups, go for it.
100%. The links between fatherhood and crime. According to studies conducted by numerous sources, including behavioural scientist Janique Croix, I may be butchering her name there, by the way. If I am, I'm not sorry. Get a proper name. Children reared in single-parent households were far more likely to commit criminal activity later in life, and children raised by single mothers more at risk than single fathers. What's even more interesting is that the salient factor appears to be the age of the child in question. The younger the child is at the moment of separation, the greater the risk of future criminal behaviour. This actually means that children who were born out of wedlock entirely basically don't stand a chance. They're basically going to be criminals, or as close to that as you can actually be.
It's not my fault, Your Honour.
Do you know what I mean?
I was made this way.
I
didn't have a father.
Literally, I didn't have a father.
But do you think there should be some leniency then?
No.
What do you mean no?
At the end of the day, it's still your choice.
It was my choice, but
it's still your choice.
Forces have aligned that
don't matter.
My mother was a whore.
There's always going to be forces that align to like push you in this direction or that direction. It's your, and you know this.
All right,
it's your choice.
all right.
If I'm broke, I must steal.
Cool. So, all right. So, do you think the law should come down harder on children that come from two-parent families?
Now this is totally different question. Double damage. Double damage. Because like you had two good parents. You know, you raised up good neighborhood.
You still went down there.
Still, that means you really wanted it.
Death penalty. I only stole a chocolate bar. Death penalty.
Should have thought about that, bucko.
You knew the law.
Throw him in jail. Take away the key.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, that's a totally different question.
Dropping the soap. The rest of eternity.
That's a totally different question. Should the law be harder on people who have two parents? It's a counterbalance, isn't it? You had too much goodness in life. Now you must have, you know. You must feel the fire, but it's interesting. Single parent households. The data is there for us to see. Behavioral scientists have said it.
So
single parent
households. Are you a bad person then if you've chosen to be a single parent because you've decided to leave the baby father or leave the baby?
I don't necessarily think bad person can be used because, as you said, people are not equipped with the information. Once you've heard
but you still are a bad person though. Whether you've done it, whether you knew about it, maybe you're not as bad as someone who was equipped.
Do you know what I think? Because it's your responsibility to equip yourself with knowledge when you know you're becoming a parent. So yeah,
you're an adult. You can't just walk 100%. Around with your eyes closed and your ears blocked.
Clearly you can. Because they're doing it.
They do.
Genuinely.
Their eyes closed, their ears closed, but their legs are open.
See no evil. Oh God, see no evil. See no evil.
So yeah, no, it's funny because now we're armed with this information. Later on in life, if we have any complications, woman cheats. Normally I'd kill her. I mean, that's I'd break up with her. But now you can't do any of those things.
Why not?
Because you're disadvantaging your child.
Well, you can still see.
It says do fathers matter, not do
exactly.
mothers matter.
And we know that mothers don't matter. No, but in all seriousness though, like.
Yeah, you're disadvantaging your child, and your child's supposed to be the main priority. So, you got to put up with all the cheating. As you should. But yeah, this book gets more and more fascinating. They did a bunch of tests to figure out if it is in fact the absence of a father that makes daughters menstruate earlier and also take more sexual risks. Researchers found specific families that had two daughters that were about 7 years apart, who also had divorced after the birth of the second daughter. This would mean that the first daughter had 7+ years growing up with her father, which is the crucial time frame, whereas the second daughter would have had none. What they found is the second daughter went into menstruation on average 11 months earlier and took more sexual risks, i.e. caught more STDs, or caught them earlier, or got pregnant earlier. Which is interesting. It's just proof. It's concrete proof.
It's as concrete as proof gets.
As you can. Researchers believe that it's the father's scent or lack of scent influences different behaviours. And this is definitely the case for animals. And going by rats, which share 90% of our DNA, if you put a virgin female into a cage as the scent of a male mouse, the female mouse will go through puberty more quickly. This is due to scent and pheromones. So again, this is the book before the book. Researchers have to resort to comparing data from mice because the study on humans just hasn't been done. And we look at us as we are animals, but we don't look at it with this scent and all of this stuff. You know, we can't detect it anymore. I don't know if it's, you know, we just don't notice it. We'll smell like strawberries and we'll got deodorant on and this, that, and the other. And you know, the scent's actually a real thing, not a real thing. But I watched a show, I think I spoke to you about this before, but it kind of proved that women are predicated to like older men. So they got women to smell sweaty t-shirts of different age groups of men. And it was a 19-year-old girl. She smelt the t-shirt of a 19-year-old boy and it was like, oh, disgusting. Because you know, but as it got to like the 35s, 40s, she was like, yeah, this isn't right.
What, is it because older men buy nicer cologne or like?
No. This is no cologne. This is naked. This is the scent.
Okay,
so as you're predicated. It's like when you smell something that's gone off. You're designed to not like that smell. Your belly goes funny when you smell it because your body's telling you don't do this.
100%.
So when you're smelling a 19-year-old who's your age, your body's saying don't do this. Don't get pregnant for this 19-year-old who has no life experience. Go for the older man. So you're designed in this way. So scents are a big thing.
Literally, and smells are all about constructs as well inside your brain. So they did an experiment, right, where they told. They blindfolded some people and they gave them drinks. They'd be like, here's water, here is, you know, lemonade or whatever. Then they would be like, here is milk. And they'd give them orange juice. And they said they'd throw up.
Yeah, didn't I tell you about what happened to me? That's what happened to me. So it was a long time ago and I was probably drunk or high or something. I don't even think I was probably...
Not high, guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't, right? And I ordered McDonald's with a friend and basically I accidentally took her drink instead of mine.
Milkshake, innit?
Hers was a milkshake, mine was Sprite. So I was expecting to drink Sprite, and
like thick, syrupy.
Something was in my mouth, and I just spat it out. I literally just went out.
What, like a 3-year-old?
Like, just let it out. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Because
your brain shuts down. You're like, what?
I panicked. I literally just...
Your brain literally shuts down. It's like, eject.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not Sprite.
Exactly.
That ain't Sprite.
It's gone off.
Yeah.
That's what you think. It's gone off. Bad.
So that's what they thought.
Because I think I sipped my Sprite, and then she put her drink where mine was, or something close to me. Something like that.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
truly traumatic experience, to be fair.
PTSD. Never forget it.
100%.
So, do you want to end with our quote of the day?
Go for it.
No, as in you've got a quote. Yeah,
I mean, if I had to ask you to make up a quote on the spot, how well do you think you would do?
Oh, I'd be terrible. I would probably not to make one up. I'd need a couple minutes, and I would have to try to not plagiarize. Now. I'd have to start. I would probably plagiarize something.
Yeah, you'd have to.
And then now my mind's immediately gone blank, so I don't know any quotes anymore. Apparently, I don't know any quotes. So yeah, but yeah, we don't need a quote to end. There's no one watching. It's just us here. It's just here anyway.
It's just us and the sniper.
Yeah. The mothers definitely ain't watching. They after the third quote,
they switched off. Really.
Yeah, they were angry, livid. 100%. So yeah, but yeah, I think this is us. We need to do a book on evolution.
Oh, we need to
one that's a little bit different though, because there's this one called Sapiens, but it was only like 30 hours long.
Oh, only 30 hours.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I haven't got that long left.
I got a life, not really, but yeah. Till next time.
Till next time.